This is your USMNT Abroad weekend update from January 31st to February 2nd of 2025. Hello. If you're new here, I'm Filippo and welcome to Tactical Manager TV and welcome to the US Men's National Team Abroad series where every single Monday we update you on how the Yanks did abroad over the weekend. Now I have nothing to say today for the intro besides to kindly request for you to smash the like button and to obviously drop a random comment in the comment section of this video to push this video further. With that said, let's roll the intro and start the episode. Okay, as always, we start with the top 5 leagues in Europe. And this episode, we're going to start with the English Premier League. So let's go to England. And why don't we start with the two Americans that play for Crystal Palace, Chris Richards and Matt Turner. And on Sunday, Chris Richards started and played the full 90 minutes for Crystal Palace, helping them hold a clean sheet versus Manchester United in a massive 2-0 victory. I know, this is not the same Manchester United we've seen 15 years ago or so, but they still have quality players. This is a massive win. And Chris Richards was tremendous. In my opinion, he was the best center back or best defender of this game. He had crucial interceptions, tackles, and he had 20 defensive actions. He also won 9 of his duels, which is the most out of any players in this game. A few weeks ago, I saw many fair concerns about Chris Richards struggling in the English Premier League once he returned from injury. But I literally just watched him put an outstanding performance against Manchester United. Again, it's not the same Manchester United as in the past, but this is still a quality team with some really good players up top. There's nothing to be concerned there. As long as Richards is healthy, he is, in my opinion, the current best US Men's National Team center back, even ahead of Mark McKenzie. That's been huge in France. We're going to talk about Mark McKenzie very soon in this video. As for Matt Turner, well, you know, water is wet. He stayed on the bench the full 90 minutes. After Matt Turner and Chris Richards, we have Anthony Robinson, Jedi, from Fulham. And on Saturday, A-Rob started and played the full 90 minutes for Fulham during their 2-1 win over Newcastle. On top of another rock-solid performance defensively and offering great support on offense, Robinson actually got another assist this season in the Premier League, and it was actually a very nice assist in transition. It was tremendous work by A-Rob, where he received a lob pass, and without hesitation down the left flank, he didn't even let it drop, and he just hit it with his left foot to find Raul Jimenez, and the Mexican forward scored. So over the weekend, Anthony Robinson got his 10th assist this season in the English Premier League, and with that, he is very close to breaking a historic record. So Trent Arnold is the fullback that got the most assists in a single Premier League season back in 2019-2020 with 13 assists. Fulham has 14 games to go, and Robinson is only 3 assists away from tying that record and 4 from breaking it because he already has 10. This would actually be insane if A-Rob broke Trent Arnold's record. And listen, I'm not saying that A-Rob is better than Trent Arnold, but breaking this Premier League record with assists would also be incredible. It would be amazing, especially when you take into account that A-Rob is actually a better defender than Trent Arnold. This is crazy. So let's hope that A-Rob will break this record. It would be massive for the United States, almost as big as when the American warrior Gohan defeated Cell to save Earth with the help of his father, Goku. Yeah, Gohan and Goku are 2 of my favorite Americans of all time. Next up, we have Tyler Adams and Mattia Kimboni from Bournemouth. And on Saturday, Tyler started and played the full 90 minutes for Bournemouth during their 2-0 loss to Liverpool. Now, I wasn't able to watch this game, so unfortunately, I can't really comment on Tyler Adams' performance. I don't really do that when I don't watch the player. But I did watch the highlights, and I can say he was not at fault for any of the goals they conceded. He also got a 7.0 rating on FootMob. You can take that with a grain of salt, but it is a good rating. It's always best to watch the game, but I think it seems like it could be okay to say Tyler probably did fine against Liverpool. As for Mattia Kimboni, he stayed on the bench the full 90 minutes. Next up, we have the Americans that play in Italy. The Americans that pretty much eat a lot of carbs every day, because that's all they eat in Italy. They just eat carbs after carbs after carbs, pasta, pizza, more carbs. So Pulisic's been eating a lot of carbs. That's my point. So why don't we start with Christian Pulisic and Yunus Musa from Milan. And on Sunday, Christian Pulisic and Yunus Musa both started for Milan during their 1-1 draw with Inter Milan in the Serie A. Christian Pulisic played 86 minutes and Yunus Musa played 78. First and foremost, I'm just going to say it. I'm going to be very straightforward with this. It was a very lucky draw for Milan, and Inter Milan deserved to win despite only getting the tie late in the game. Inter had like 3 goals disallowed, which they were correctly disallowed, but still, and they hit the post like 3 times. No, seriously, it's kind of weird, but Inter Milan has a much better team than Milan these days. I know that Milan won the first time they faced each other in the derby earlier this year. They also won the Italian Super Cup, but every time you watch them, you can see that Inter Milan has better players. But that's not the point of this video. So how did the Americans do? So Christian Pulisic played on the right wing the entire game as far as I can remember, and when it comes to offense, he was mostly a ghost. And by ghost, I mean ghost. Like, he wasn't bad, he was just kind of ineffective or not as creative as he normally is, or maybe not as goal dangerous as he normally is. He wasn't bad, it was just not really the standard we hold Christian Pulisic to. Now, I do want to say the positives. He was defending a lot, especially in the second half. He tracked back very well, and honestly, I thought he delivered some very dangerous corner kicks. As for Yunus Musa, he played as a central midfielder this time, and he was actually quite good. And I want to say one thing. It's actually very good to see that he still started despite getting a red card in the Champions League during the midweek. And once again, I thought Musa had a good game. He was a bit inconsistent, I guess, mainly in the first half, right? But not bad. But overall, it was a very positive performance. He had some good carries. He was able to dribble into space and progress the ball forward very well. He positioned himself well on defense and offense. And even his passing was actually quite good, which very often it is not. Despite the assist that he got in the previous weekend, usually his passing is not good. My point, Musa was good, and I hope he keeps it up. If he plays like this at a consistent basis, he will definitely be a locked-in starter for Milan. Next up, we have Tim Weah and Weston McKennie from Juventus. And on Sunday, both Weston McKennie and Tim Weah started for Juve during their 4-1 win over Empoli. So this game was at like 6:30 a.m. on Sunday, and I was half asleep while watching it. If you haven't noticed, I hate early mornings. It doesn't matter if it's the weekend or during the week. I hate early mornings, even though very often I do have to wake up very early. Now, Tim Weah played the full 90 minutes as a fullback, and I thought he was solid for most of the game on both ends. He did get an accidental assist. It was essentially a long-range shot, a good long-range shot, that his teammate deflected it to score. So if you put it into perspective, Tim Weah aimed for $1 million, which was a long shot. It would have been a banger, and he made $500,000, right? Which was the assist. It was half of it. It still counts, and it's still a lot of money. The goal does not happen without the long shot. And that's why you always aim high. Because even if you don't get the $1 million, maybe you'll get half of it. And that's still good enough. At least for me. As for Weston McKennie, he was on the midfield, or he played in the midfield, which is technically his position, but I thought he was very meh. I didn't think McKennie had a good game on and off the ball. I would say it's probably like a 4 out of 10 performance, which is slightly below average. Maybe he's better as a fullback. When Juve plays him as a fullback, he actually looks quite good. I still think McKennie's a midfielder, but again, he's been better as a fullback for Juventus for the most part, at least in the last few games. Next on the list is Gianluca Busio from Venezia. And on Saturday, Busio started and played 62 minutes for Venezia during their 3-2 loss to Udinese. He better start looking for another club this summer. Otherwise, he's probably going to be playing in the second division of Italy once again. Venezia is very likely to get relegated. As I said before, they are balls deep into the relegation zone at this point. Okay, time to leave Italy and go to Germany. I'm not good at geography, but I think they're pretty close. They might be neighboring countries, or maybe not. So let's talk about the Americans in the Bundesliga. The first two being Gio Reyna and Cole Campbell from Borussia Dortmund. And on Saturday, Gio Reyna started off the bench and was subbed in the 87th minute. So pretty much at the end of the game for Borussia Dortmund during their 2-1 win over Heidenheim. So I got nothing to say there, but I want to add that Cole Campbell stayed on the bench the full 90 minutes, which is even worse than Gio Reyna. Now, Kevin Paredes from Wolfsburg, he's still injured, still not back. We don't know when he will be back, so I got nothing to say there. So let's skip him and talk about Joe Scally from Borussia Mönchengladbach. And on Saturday, Joe Scally started and played the full 90 minutes as a right back for Gladbach during their very good result, right? A 2-1 win over Stuttgart in the Bundesliga. After that, we have Leonard Maloney from Mainz. And on Friday, Leonard Maloney stayed on the bench the full 90 minutes for his new club Mainz during their 1-0 loss to Werder Bremen. Still in Germany, we have James Sands from St. Pauli and Noah Kai Banks from Augsburg because they clashed over the weekend. And on Saturday, James Sands started and played the full 90 minutes for St. Pauli during their 1-1 draw with Augsburg. Now, Noah Kai Banks, he started for Augsburg and he played 79 minutes for them, mainly as a left center back in a back three. So I want to say this, Noah Kai Banks did score an own goal, and that's obviously not good, but go watch the goal yourself. It wasn't really his fault, okay? You score an own goal, you're going to be at fault for it, but just watch it and you'll get what I'm saying. You can go on YouTube, look it up, Augsburg versus St. Pauli, 1-1, highlights, watch the goal. It wasn't his fault before we start blaming the kid. Now, what truly impressed me about Noah Kai Banks specifically is how athletic this kid is in his tackles, speed, how he moves, but most importantly, how good he is on the ball. This is truly a ball-playing defender when it comes to passing, but not just that. This guy can also dribble into space and progress the ball forward on his own. And he's just 18 as a center back playing the Bundesliga. This is quite impressive. This might be our highest ceiling center back. He's not the best one right now, but he might be the one with the most potential out of our U20 players. And as Sir Alex Ferguson used to say, if you're good enough, you're old enough. And with that said, if Pochettino has some balls, he might as well call this kid up during the March camp. Give him a look, give him a shot, see how he can do. Because the World Cup is still 18 months away, so Noah Kai Banks has time to develop. And by then, he might be ready. He might actually already be better than Miles Robinson. At least he has more top 5 league minutes than Miles Robinson and Walker Zimmerman combined. Next up, we have John Token from Holstein Kiel. And on Saturday, Token started and played 82 minutes for Holstein Kiel during their 4-3 loss to Bayern. This was actually Token's first Bundesliga start, and I don't know how he did because I was not able to watch this game, and I'm not going to bullshit you. If I didn't watch it, I don't really have an opinion. I could also give you stats, but again, this won't really tell the full picture, the full story. But I'll make sure to watch him over the next few weeks so we can see how he is doing in the Bundesliga. After all, we still need a backup left back for A-Rob. Let's leave Germany and go to La Liga. We only have one American there, so I'll be quick. His name is Johnny Cardoso from Real Betis. And on Sunday, Johnny started and played 82 minutes for Real Betis during their 2-2 draw with Athletic Bilbao. Yeah, I missed Johnny's game this weekend too. I'm sorry about that. I watched a lot of games, but not this one. And that made La Liga a quickie. It was very quick. It lasted like 10 seconds, or not even. Now we're going to go to France and talk about the Americans in Ligue, whatever way you pronounce it in French. But the first one would have been Floating Balogun. He's still dealing with that shoulder injury. He should be out for another 2 months or so. So let's skip Floating Balogun and talk about Mark McKenzie from Toulouse. And on Sunday, McKenzie started and played the full 90 minutes for Toulouse during their 1-1 draw with Nice, even though it's spelled nice. McKenzie scored in the 85th minute to tie the game and get Toulouse the draw. The goalkeeper essentially dropped the ball and McKenzie took advantage of the loose ball and scored an easy goal. But again, he was in the right place at the right time. A goal is a goal. And keep in mind, it's not McKenzie's job to score goals. So props to him. He had another great performance defensively and he scored a goal that got them 1 point. Last but not least in France, we have Tenor Tessman from Lyon. And on Sunday, Tessman started off the bench and was only subbed in the 86th minute for Lyon during their 3-2 loss to Olympique Marseille. At least he started getting some minutes. Time to go to the Eredivisie. Time to go to the Netherlands. And we're going to start with the PSV boys. But unfortunately, the PSV boys are essentially a medical department at this point. PSV has become an American hospital. And because it's an American hospital, the bill's going to be pricey for all these players. Okay, jokes aside, almost every single American in PSV is injured right now, but let's talk about it. And on Saturday, Ledesma started but was subbed out, injured, allegedly, around the 82nd minute for PSV during their 3-3 draw with NEC. So if Ledesma is to miss any time, we have all 4 Americans in PSV injured right now. Serginho Dest is still recovering from the torn ACL and he should be out at least till March. Malik Tillman is injured with no confirmation of the return date. We don't know how long he'll be out for. All we know is he'll be out for at least a few weeks, maybe a few months. And Ricardo Pepi might actually be done for the season. He is dealing with a knee injury and he's expected to be out for many months. The rumors were that he'll be out for 4 months, which, if that is confirmed, he is done for the season. But at the time of this recording, we don't know how serious the knee injury that Ricardo Pepi got is. This is not good, and I'm a little bit worried about the March camp because we already pretty much don't have Balogun. And now we won't have Pepi during the March camp, which means we'll rely only on Sargent, and he's very injury prone. So if Sargent's out, who are we bringing? Brandon Vasquez? Jesus Ferreira? Aguiman? None of them are to the standard that we want the national team. So if Sargent gets injured or he just shits the bed and plays like crap in March, which very often he does for the national team, even though I think Sargent's a good player, we're in big trouble. But we'll worry about that next month. We still got some time, and you can always play Tim Way up top. Okay, next up is Paxton Aronson from Utrecht. And on Saturday, Paxton Aronson started and played the full 90 minutes for Utrecht during their 3-3 draw with PEC Zwolle. He had 2 good chances to score and both were saved. Defensively, he actually continues to be quite good, which I didn't know he had that in his game. He's a very good defender while playing in the midfield. With Tillman injured, I can actually see Paxton Aronson being called up next month during the March camp. And honestly, Paxton has been quite good this season and he does deserve a call-up. Okay, let's go to England so we can talk about the Americans in the second division of England, the EFL Championship. The first one being Josh Sargent from Norwich. And on Saturday, Josh Sargent started and played 84 minutes for Norwich during their 1-0 win over Watford. And Sargent actually scored the goal that gave them the win. It was, in fact, an easy tap-in. But again, just like I said about Mark McKenzie, he was in the right place at the right time. Positioning and timing are very underrated skills and underappreciated skills of this game. And again, with Pepi and Balogun out in March, we want Sargent to be in form. We want Sargent to be confident, and we want Sargent to be healthy. Next up, we have Brendan Aronson from Leeds. And on Saturday, Aronson started and played 71 minutes for Leeds during their 7-0 win over Cardiff City. Once again, a team from Wales, the country. It was an everybody eats type of game, and Aronson ate first. He scored the first goal of the game on a quick transition where he got a shot on a semi-open net. By semi-open, I mean the goalkeeper was not there, but there were like 2 center backs trying to stop the ball, but Aronson scored anyway. Lucky for Ethan Horvath, he was on the bench during this bloodbath. Next up in England would have been Haji Wright, but he's still dealing with that nasty ankle injury. He hasn't been back. Aiden Morris plays on Monday, so you know the drill. Comment down below how did he do, because we record this on Sunday. However, we will have the US Men's National Team Abroad midweek recap during the midweek, so we might talk about Aiden Morris there. With that said, don't forget to drop a like in the video if you haven't already. And last but not least, we have Cameron Carter-Vickers and Austin Trusty from Celtic in Scotland. And on Sunday, Trusty and Carter-Vickers both started and played the full 90 minutes for Celtic during their 3-1 win over Motherwell. So Carter-Vickers is back from the muscle injury that kept him out of their midweek game in the Champions League. Alright everyone, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like before you go. It helps the channel quite a bit, and also a random comment because it always helps us with the YouTube algorithm. With that said, I want to thank you all very much for watching and have a great day.